Creative Writing Advice with me, JJ Barnes. If you don't know me, I'm JJ. I am the author of How to Write a Story. It's out now on Amazon. I also am the author of other books, and I have a film and post-production, and I write a writing advice blog. But over here on YouTube, I am bringing you writing advice videos where I hopefully am giving you the confidence and the know-how to take the ideas you have in your head so you can, bring them out into the world as a story that you can be proud of. Because the world needs more stories, and I say this a lot, but it really does. Stories are incredible and powerful and wonderful, and getting them out there is magic. So that's what I'm hoping to do, because a long time ago when I was an aspiring writer who had never really got where I wanted to get with my stories, and I knew that I wanted to tell them, I couldn't figure out how to get it right. And I could have really used some of these lessons. I learned them, obviously, and I am grateful for it, but some earlier help would have been nice. And so that's what I'm hoping to do, give you the advice that I felt like I needed. So today I'm going to be talking to you about finding the balance of prose to dialogue in your story. Because you need to find a ratio that will work, that will keep your story moving forward so that it's interesting, and also provide enough description and entertainment to your story so that people feel connected, so they can visualize what it is you're trying to describe in an effective way. So first, what I'm going to talk about is what the dialogue in your story will do and what the prose in your story will do. The flaws in having too much or too little of either of them, and how to find the balance that works. So the purpose of dialogue in your story is it keeps the conflict active, and the conflict is what your character wants and what they don't have. You join them at this point in their lives because they are going after a goal, a story goal. It could be something simple, like they want to get something that they don't have, like a wedding dress. Say they want to find the perfect wedding dress and they haven't got one. That is the story goal. Or it could be something big, like end a war, stop aliens invading, anything like that. But basically you join your protagonist now because there's something that they want to accomplish, and you're following them on that journey. The dialogue is how they communicate that. As long as they are talking, arguing, pushing, asking questions, they will be keeping the story moving because they're talking about what it is they want and how they're going to get it. The prose is how you do a lot of the show don't tell. So it's how you describe what the room looks like in a way that will interest and make your audience feel part of it. It's how you describe how people look, what your character is feeling, and the literal action. They walk from this room to this room, so that the story will make sense and be interesting. Now, the problem you will find if you have too much dialogue, and there are some very dialogue heavy stories, if you have so much dialogue that the prose kind of gets left behind a little bit, your story will be unclear for the most part, is the problem. You can have them talking, but what are they feeling? Where are they? If you just leave them in a white box, like I know I'm in like a white space here, but that's because this isn't a story. If I was telling you a story about two people having a conversation and they were just in a white box like this, it would be unnatural, it wouldn't be interesting, it would feel strange. You have to give them a setting, you have to place your story on a set, on a stage almost. Where is your story happening? And if you miss out that, your story won't work. Again, if you have so much prose that your dialogue is lacking, it will kind of become very slow and tedious. That you can have them walking around and looking at things and feeling things and thinking things, but without some conflict, without other characters challenging them or asking them questions, things happening where people are interacting, your story will slow so much down that it becomes tedious. Because humanity, or aliens, if you're writing about aliens or dwarves or whatever, but the point is, like, the humanity in them is how you connect to them. It's how you know what they want and why. It's why you start to care. If you don't care about your people in your story, you won't read your story. So the dialogue and when they talk is how you communicate that to your audience. Who are they? What do they want? Why does it matter? You have to find a balance. Now, it would be easy to say, for instance, just a 50-50 ratio, half your page is dialogue, half your page is prose. But it won't always work like that, because sometimes you want to have a lot more description. You need to describe things. They're alone and they're doing something in secret perhaps, or just something very moving and important is going on that deserves a lot of prose and description. Other times they'll be having a conversation, and there's only so many times if someone's sitting in a bar talking to somebody, there's only so much time you want to spend describing what the bar looks like, because we've all been in a bar, we know what a bar looks like. It's the conversation they're having that really deserves your focus and your interest. So sort of 50-50 ratio per page will never work, because it's not mapped out like that. But what you want to sort of think about is the pace of your scene, and that is how you're going to work out your prose to dialogue ratio moment to moment. So if you're writing a pacey scene, so say a sparky conversation, that you'll have less prose because your focus is the dialogue. If you are writing a scene where people are fighting, you're going to want less description of the walls and less description of the smell in the air and more about what they're doing. If you are writing a scene where they are wandering, just having an amble through a parkland, feeling emotions, holding hands, gazing at the light on the water, thinking about how the hand of the other person feels in theirs, things like that, you're going to spend more on the prose because it's a slower paced scene. So if you try and work out what that scene requires and build it around that. If your whole book is fast paced, you need to look at slowing some bits down, otherwise it's exhausting. And if your whole book is slow and ponderous, you're going to want to look at putting some scenes in that will liven it up and speed it up so people don't get bored. But scene by scene, you work out your prose to dialogue ratio by the activity that's going on in the scene, what will make sense for that scene, and what your focus should be on. If your focus needs to be on what people are saying and how they're communicating with each other, have more dialogue. If your focus of your scene is more about emotions and feelings and movements and the setting, have more prose. And in theory, if I've made sense, and I'm hoping I have, this will help you find a prose to dialogue ratio that can change moment to moment based on what is happening in your story. Keep your story entertaining, keep your action moving forwards, and give the dialogue prose ratio a way that works for both you writing your story and your audience reading it. I hope this has been helpful to you. Drop me a comment, tell me about your story. How are you working out your prose to dialogue ratio? Is there a technique you have found that helps you figure it out? Because if you have a really good little bit of advice, I can talk about it with you, and we can obviously I would credit you for that being your advice, but I can talk about it and we can grow and help other people together, which is always a good thing. I love it when I have things that you guys have said or requested, because we're a community, the writing community. We're a lovely network of people who all care and love stories, and helping each other is a lovely part of that. So I'm really happy that I get to be involved. If you subscribe to this channel, I'm putting a video out every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 9:30 a.m. Subscribing is awesome for me because it helps me grow, and I'm hoping I can just keep reaching people, and the more people who subscribe, the better it is in the algorithms of the YouTube and stuff, and the more people I can reach. And I'm just connecting with some of the most amazing people over here, and you're coming over onto like the social medias and everything, and the conversations, honestly, like I say, the writing community is just glorious, and I love being part of it. So thank you for subscribing, it really helps. If you go to my website, which is jjbarnes.co.uk, over there you will find links to all my social media, as well as the books I have written, the TV and film stuff I'm working on, things like that. And I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Thank you so much for watching another one of my videos. Bye!